Hello everyone, I'm Fozzie, or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Cam. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and we have a really fun schedule today. As you can see, I have the Christmas lights up, so you guys already know it's going to be a Christmas-themed episode. We're going to talk our favorite Christmas movies, we're going to dive deep into a few of them, including the Guardians Holiday Special, amongst others. Um, we're also going to discuss some of our favorite Christmas songs, and yeah, it'll be a nice festive little episode. And you're probably wondering why we didn't do this closer to Christmas. I don't know. That's a good question. Um, but I mean, if we want to talk about Christmas some more, then we'll do it next Wednesday. But yeah, for now, this is what we're gonna do. But right off the bat, I just wanted to start talking about some of our favorite Christmas movies. Um, so Guardians Holiday Special came out almost, actually, yeah, about a year ago. Um, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun thing for Marvel to do, and something that I'm sure kind of was a cash grab, but I think that's kind of a cash grab done right, if you know what I mean. I think the inclusion of Kevin Bacon was hilarious, and I just thought overall it was a really good special presentation from Marvel. It didn't have too much real story, and it was just a lot of fun. A really good Christmas special, and I cannot wait to rewatch it. I really enjoyed that. What were your thoughts on the holiday special?
Yeah,
We've talked
that
about this before, but we not recently.
yeah, of course. Yeah, that is something that I may have to make a yearly tradition too, because I had a ton of fun watching it. I feel like it served its purpose, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I'm not sure, you know, I have accused Marvel of money grabs in my life, but I don't think I'm gonna do that with this one because James Gunn is behind
Yeah,
this, and
that's
and I
fair.
think James Gunn is very much about only releasing Guardians of the Galaxy stories that need to be told. So I'm not gonna accuse him of that. But yeah, no, I thought it was just super fun to watch. I don't think I'd put it above any of the three Guardians movies, but I wouldn't expect myself to either because it's a totally different thing.
Yeah,
And I remember, when I walked out of that, even though I feel like Marvel has had, and I'm so happy to say this, I do feel like they've had a bounce back here on the small screen this year, even though it faltered a bit at the end. I thought Secret Invasion had some great episodes this year, and I thought Loki had some great episodes this year and
and we'll
really
see what
nailed
if.
for sure, yeah. And I thought Loki really nailed the ending to season two. And you just mentioned What If. So Marvel has had, I feel like, a bounce back year on the small screen this year, which I've been really happy about. But at the time that Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special came out, we were stuck in a year that had Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk. But then Marvel put out Werewolf by Night and the
Yep,
Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which both got reviewed very well
I liked
and
them.
we both enjoyed. So actually, even though I don't feel as strongly about this now because Marvel, I feel like, has had a bounce back year on the small screen this year.
Yeah,
At the time that came out, I remember saying that I thought that was something Marvel should look into possibly doing more because it allowed them to just make like a 40-minute special instead of having to, worrying about putting all this extra time into more, to making multiple episodes of a show. So even though, I'm not like, even though I don't really feel that way anymore because I feel like they've had a bounce back here on the small screen, when that initially came out, I thought Marvel should look at that as a possibility of something that could be the future of their stuff on the
yeah,
small screen because when it came out, we were stuck in what I considered a really bad small screen year
yeah.
by MCU standards.
Also, while we're on the topic, this isn't really Christmas related, but um, Agatha, whatever it's called now. What is it? What is the name? Agatha. It's not
Is it? I think it's Agatha Darkhold Diaries now.
Darkhold Diaries. Oh, that's a terrible name. Both of the ones that came before were much better.
What do we have? We had, I think we had House of
And
Harkness,
Coven of Chaos was the first
Coven of
one.
Chaos,
Yeah,
Darkhold Diaries. You
yeah,
know, I'll just be, and I know that Echo is going to be doing this too. I'll be curious to watch shows with characters who I don't really like very much. Like,
yeah.
usually I prefer to have the lead character be someone who I can get behind.
Hmm.
But, if it's done well, I can, enjoy something that's about a villain. But with this Agatha Darkhold Diary show and with Echo, coming up, in the lead, those are going to be two characters that you didn't love, in their
Yeah,
first appearances in Hawkeye and WandaVision, respectfully. So I'll be curious to see how they navigate shows with characters who were villains when you were first introduced to them. I'll be very curious to see how they navigate and handle all of that.
yeah. Agreed. I mean, I think Catherine Hahn's a really great actress, so I think
Oh
she'll
yeah, I
make
thought
you.
she was phenomenal in WandaVision.
Yeah, she'll definitely make you a fan of the character. Um, but what I was gonna say is, have you seen the images that were released for Agatha Darkhold Diaries?
I don't think I have. What were they looking like?
They don't reveal a whole lot. There was one. This one. Well, I think all of them were leaked. I don't know if they were all released officially by Marvel. But these leaks happen all the time. You know what happened with No Way Home, and everyone thought it was fake. Um, but yeah. So one of them was, I think two of them were just pictures of Agatha, just showing her Catherine Hahn as Agatha, and then there was one that showed Agatha talking to a group of people.
Interesting.
One of the people she was talking to, looking like Wanda Maximoff.
Whoa,
Yep.
whoa,
So people,
wow.
I've heard
If
people,
they, wow, I am wow.
yeah. What I've heard people saying is it could be Billy Maximoff because they kind of have similar powers, and but from what I saw in the picture, and it wasn't a very detailed picture because that's just how these leaks work. Nothing ever looks good. Um, so it wasn't really in focus, but you could see kind of the head. I don't know what you'd call it, the Scarlet Witch headpiece. Um, yeah, you kind of saw that, so that might have just given it away as the Scarlet Witch, which I'm really excited about because she is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and I think Elizabeth Olsen is just a fantastic actress. I saw her in a miniseries that released on HBO Max this year called Love and Death that was based off a true story, and she was fantastic in it. She was just great. So yeah, Hollywood should really cast her in more things because right now I know she was in one of the Godzilla movies, which is a big blockbuster. And then she got in the Marvel movies, and now she did that Love and Death thing, which was kind of big. I'm sure she'll get nominated for some Emmys. I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to see what the future of her career holds. But it's looking like one of the things in her future is Agatha and the Darkhold Diaries, and
Yeah, I mean,
it could be a flashback, but who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. If they do bring her back, I would be incredibly excited to see her again. Yeah, and I've seen some quotes from Elizabeth Olsen recently where she's talked about wanting to expand beyond Marvel and not just have that
Good.
define her career, which I think is smart on her part. But
Yeah.
if they bring her back, I would be nothing but thrilled about that because I
Same.
think what they've done with her character in the multiverse saga has been nothing but brilliant. I think she was a good, compelling character in the Infinity Saga, but I think with WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, they have just been able to flesh her out in ways that they, didn't choose to do and probably, weren't really allowed to do originally when she was in movies like Avengers movies and Captain America Civil War, where there are all these different characters. But I think, when they allowed her, a show where she could be one of the main characters and a movie where she could be, the main villain, I think that just allowed them to flesh her out so much more. And
Yeah.
as much as I love the Marvel actors. I love the Marvel actors. I feel like one of the things the MCU should get the most credit for is selecting fantastic actors for their roles.
Yeah.
I think um I believe Sarah Finn is their casting director. Like she deserves so much credit for making excellent casting choices over the years in the MCU. But as much as I love the Marvel actors, you know, like superhero movies and shows aren't the types of things where like I would come to it expecting a performance that was just stunning and like blew my mind and knocked
Yeah.
my socks off. Elizabeth Olsen did that to
She
me
sure did.
in
And
WandaVision
same
and
with Paul
Multiverse
Bettany.
of Oh, for sure. But like Elizabeth Olsen in WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, I
Oh,
thought stunning.
powerhouse.
I was watching it and I was like, I cannot believe how good this woman is at acting. So I give her so much credit because she made me stunned by her performances in a genre that I don't come to expecting performances like that. So I give her massive credit for that.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you saw her go from, you know, a character like in Civil War and Infinity War that was like, oh, I mean, she's a cool character, interesting story. Maybe it'd be cool if we had some background on that. And then we saw her in Endgame and Infinity War. She had that fight scene with Thanos in Endgame, which was epic. She almost killed Thanos herself. Um, but then, as it went on, we got WandaVision. Now, I mean, I guess she's kind of a villain now, but I feel like she's more of an anti-hero, you know? Um, a little more hero than villain, I think. Um, she just got caught up in some bad things, I guess I'd say. But it's crazy how you went from this character who's like, oh, cool character, to, whoa, that is a outstanding character, you know? So yeah, just really impressed with the way she's been able to portray the character of the Scarlet Witch in the MCU. Um, so yeah, props to Elizabeth Olsen, and I cannot wait for Agatha and the Darkhold Diaries. That's been one of my more anticipated shows,
Yeah.
and it's weird that no one seems. I look on the internet, and I feel like not a lot of people share my enthusiasm for this show. I think it'll be
Yeah.
exciting. I mean, I love WandaVision so much, and I know a lot of other people did too. So I don't know what this lack of excitement is about.
Do you think it's you know, I was talking about earlier about preferring shows with characters that you can get behind in the lead. Do you think part of it is about the fact that this character is a villain? You
Mm.
did not like her. You don't want to get behind her. Do you think that could possibly be a part of the reason? That's one thing that came to mind. And maybe another thing is just the fact that, you know, Marvel is widely considered to be in a rut right now. Like
Yeah,
Marvel is widely considered to be in probably the worst stretch of its existence right now. So I think another thing it could possibly, you know, have to do with is just the fact that, you know, people aren't as into Marvel right now. So future projects maybe won't get hyped up as much because people just aren't as into the MCU right now.
yeah. So the first thing you said that they might not want to see a villain, I would disagree. I would go to disagree with that because that's been proven wrong before because we've had movies like The Joker that have grossed like $1 billion. Joaquin Phoenix won an Oscar. So I mean, there were movies where people like to root for the villains, like the Suicide Squad movie, the DC movie, the James Gunn version. People like to root for the villain. But I think the real reason for people's lack of excitement for this project is the fact that people have it in their heads that the MCU is in a rut right now, um, and I think that that rut is past because I think the Marvels was the last bit of that we'll see, and now who's back running Disney?
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger, yeah. So now that he's back, it seems like he's kind of taking more control, kind of just squeezing all the bad things out and just kind of streamlining the content. So that's that. I think Marvel's gonna start winding back up again, and I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because we have more Christmas stuff to get to. Um, but I saw that Jonathan Majors' lawyers said that um, his female acquaintance who made this, or girlfriend, whatever it was, who made those claims ended up, or according to the lawyers, it hasn't been proven true or whatever, said that she was conspiring as a revenge plot about something, and she made all of this up. I'll have to look up. I'll have to look it up to remember the exact quote. But it was in that vein that it was. She didn't really. There wasn't really any evidence. He didn't actually do that. She just made it up because she was really mad at him. So it looks like that's what they're going with right now, which could be true. Could not be true, but we'll just have to wait for now. But I just wanted to share that brief bit of news. But anyway, Will, what are some not Marvel, Christmas movies you enjoy watching around the holiday season, or Christmas specials? You know, like
Yeah.
Rudolph, you could say, or whatever, or Elf, or whatever. Any Christmas related.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I will actually expand on both of those that you said. The Rudolph Christmas special. I remember when I was younger, that was one that I just got super into because I thought it was just so much fun to watch, and I haven't watched it as much recently, but that is I just feel like a great one to watch around the holiday season. And when it comes to Elf, if someone asked me why is Will Ferrell considered a comedic genius, I would tell them to go watch Elf
Yeah.
because that will prove it. And by the way, another thing, like, so I knew that John Favreau, was was behind Iron Man and the Mandalorian. But when I found
Elf
out,
too. Yep.
but when I found out that he had directed Elf, I was just like, boy,
Yeah.
this guy has the ability to make some really brilliant things.
Yeah.
So I Elf is excellent, and then I believe I think it was your family who introduced our family to the Christmas Chronicles movies on
Oh
Netflix
yeah.
with Kurt Russell, and even though I liked the second one and thought it was fun, nothing to me could beat the first one. But like Kurt Russell's performance in that first one, I just thought was off the charts.
I
So that's
agree.
another one. I I liked the second one, but I think the first one
I
is just like the perfect holiday movie.
I completely agree. And I just need to take a second, Will, because you mentioned that Christmas Chronicles is on Netflix. I love the Christmas Chronicles movies. I love going on Netflix and watching movies. Will, I don't have Netflix anymore. Will, so
Oh
I
wow.
share an account with my uncle, and
Okay.
they I don't I no longer have Netflix. It just, oh my goodness, it's
Wow.
so annoying. I just cannot go on Netflix now. It is ridiculous. Oh my
Wow. Yeah.
goodness.
So how did this all happen exactly?
So, I mean, if you'll remember in the past, Netflix has made statements about, because they've lost a lot of money, um, due to, like, bad, spending too much money on projects that ended up being bad and not earning that money back. Um, so they need more cash. So what they're doing is people share their password, and they're, like my uncle did with us and my other uncle, um, and now they're cracking down on password sharing, and if you're doing that, you have to pay for your own separate account now.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
it,
That's
it
really tough, man. I'm so sorry
it's
about that.
ridiculous on behalf of Netflix. So, but we'll figure it out somehow. Because I really would like to watch the Christmas Chronicles, and like everything is on Netflix, so I should really at some point figure out what I'm gonna do about that. Um, But that was just, I had to vent about that. But you mentioned Will Ferrell being a comedic genius, and how much you love Elf. Have you seen the film Spirited?
I haven't, but that is one that I may
Oh.
have to check out.
Have you seen any Ryan Reynolds movies? And he's Deadpool. I think he's hilarious. He's
Yeah,
just good in everything.
I saw the Adam Project, which I thought
Oh,
was a
that's right.
super fun film. I thought that film was a lot of fun.
Well, wait till you see Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. It is one of the funniest performances I've ever seen. He is so funny in kind of everything. Even in did you see Free Guy?
No,
Okay.
but I do know about it. Yeah.
Yeah. He was funny in that, and that wasn't even that good of a movie. Adam Project, same, he's funny in that. But in Spirited, he kind of plays a different type of character that he usually does. He's not really the good guy, but he is still hilarious, and so is Will Ferrell, and guess what? It's a musical.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds singing. I mean, what else can you ask for? It's fantastic. It's on Apple TV if you have that. Um, yeah, I really enjoy Spirited. I'm rewatching it right now. I'm like halfway through. So yeah, that's one holiday movie I really enjoy, and it came out last year. But Will, all right, this is kind of what I've been waiting to really talk about.
Okay.
So I was just looking, what Christmas movie should I watch? I was kind of looking for a new Christmas movie, you know, because everyone's seen the same Christmas movies a bunch of times,
Right.
right? So I was like, maybe I'll find a new one. I was like, a bunch of the same. There's Frosty the Snowman, The Grinch, a bunch of the stuff I already seen before, Elf. Then I look and I see something called Arthur Christmas, not the cartoon character Arthur from years ago. It's called Arthur Christmas. It's an animated movie from the studio that made Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's Sony Animation. That movie was so good. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know it existed. And it has like a
Wow.
7 on IMDb. I don't even know how. It was so good. The character of Arthur is probably my favorite Christmas movie protagonist of all time. Oh my goodness. It was such a good movie. It came out a few years ago at this
2011 it
point.
said.
2011. That's kind of
Yeah.
a while ago, I guess. Um, and the animation still looks flawless. Flawless. It's fantastic. And I believe the Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty high, actually.
Yeah, it's a 92%. Now the audience score, strangely enough, on Rotten Tomatoes, 77%. But the
Which still isn't
but the
terrible.
yeah, true. Yeah, for sure. And I have I've seen films that are in the 70s on Rotten Tomatoes that I really enjoy. Like
Yeah,
I've
totally.
experienced that before.
A
Like I
lot of the
think
Marvel
yeah.
movies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, oh my goodness. Arthur Christmas it was great. And there's a character in the movie that you think is going to be the villain. But no, he's just a character who learns a lesson at the end of the... He's not the villain of the movie. He's just a guy who has some emotional issues, you know, that he has to overcome by the end of the movie. And it's just a fantastic Christmas movie that I didn't even know existed until like last week. So yeah, round of applause for Arthur Christmas. I really enjoyed it. And like I said before, the crazy thing is, no clue it even existed. Um, but yeah, do you have any other Christmas movies?
None other coming to my mind at the moment, but I'm curious because I believe was it Violet Night with David Harbour that came out last year.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that one? Because I know you saw that one in the theaters.
I don't usually like saying this because it's usually not true. But I'm gonna say it. I could make Violet Night better than they did.
Wow.
I mean, it was a good movie. It was fine, but there were just so many changes I could have made to make it just more entertaining. It starts off so slow, and I don't care about anything that's happening. I just want to see Santa fighting. And I know that's not what everyone wants. You probably want story. But for a movie, well, called Violent Night, I'm here to see Santa do some violent, do some violent things, you know. And there definitely are moments where he does some violent things, but one of them was in a dark room and you couldn't just really see really well what was going on. Um, and if I directed that, I wouldn't have made it happen in a dark room. There were just a bunch of changes I would have made to make this a high pace, fast pace, action Christmas movie. But David Harbour was great in it, and but like I said, I don't say this often because, like I said, it's usually not true. But I really think I could have made this movie better.
Wow.
But you know, maybe they had studio restrictions. Maybe they weren't allowed to show certain things because there was a decent amount of beheadings, etc., etc. Um, and maybe they didn't want to show that, and that's why they put it in a dark room. But that's not what people came there for. But there is a new Christmas movie directed by John Woo, who is a famous director. He directs a bunch of famous action movies. Legendary director, even. I mean, he's done Japanese action movies and American. He's critically acclaimed, I guess. Done a bunch of crazy action movies, and he came out with a new Christmas one. And so you know, Violent Night came out last year. You know what his Christmas movie's called?
What's it called?
Silent Night. I mean, what is that? There's so many other Christmas things you could choose from. Why? Why did he have to completely copy Violent Night? Oh my goodness, that
Do you
frustrated
think
me.
he intentionally did that?
Probably not. Probably just the studio. But at some point, I would like to see it because it actually looks like it has a really good story.
That is the name of an incredibly famous um Christmas song. So maybe he was
Yeah.
trying to pay tribute to the song.
Well, so was the people. So were the people in Violent Night. They were trying to pay tribute. They did it much better than him. Um, but that's the worst part of the movie that I've seen so far. The trailers look good, really good. It kind of feels like a Die Hard type thing where it's not like really like Violent Night was a Christmas movie. Santa was in it. But this doesn't seem exactly like that. It takes place around Christmas. It kind of centers around Christmas. There's snow. But the story isn't really a Christmas story, you know? So it looks like it really has a really nice story. No, well, not nice. A really cool story. Um, and one of my favorite artists in the music industry, Kid Cudi, um, is actually in the movie because he's, I guess, kind of becoming an actor now. Um, so that even draws me to the movie more. But it's kind of annoying. It's not in any like theaters really close to me. But at some point before the holidays, I'd like to see it. And if it's still in theaters after the holiday, and I haven't seen it yet, then I'll see it then too. But yeah, it looks really fun. I'll have to check it out at some point. But really, come on, we could have been a little more creative with our names, don't you think?
I
Um,
see what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
But one more thing before we wrap up this episode, that'll probably take us a little bit. Christmas songs. Well, I think we can all kind of just take a moment and realize what everyone's favorite Christmas song is and what's the most legendary Christmas song of all time is. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey.
Love that song.
It is
Love that song.
fantastic.
I love that song. One of my all-time favorites. I just it's so uplifting.
I
I
can't get
love
sick
that
of it. I
song.
hear it all the time, and I cannot get sick of it. I mean, I love Taylor Swift. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. And I got sick of her song Karma. I heard it too many times. I cannot get sick of All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's just always in my head, and I'm not like, oh, it's in my head. I'm like, yes, it's in my head. I am singing along to that song. Um, I think it's just a fantastic, fantastic Christmas song. Everyone knows about it, but you know, it's just it goes really hard. I really like it. And Not a lot of other people share my opinion there. Another Christmas song that I feel like is kind of underrated, the song Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses.
Mm.
It is the new Barbershop Holiday Special intro. But yeah, I really enjoy it. It's probably one of my favorite, probably in my top 3 for Christmas songs. It's just the way the lyrics are delivered is funny. It's just a really good Christmas song. Will, what are some of your favorite go-to Christmas songs?
Yeah, yeah. There are a few different ones that I could rattle off the top of my head, but Bruce Springsteen's version of Santa Claus
Oh,
is Coming to Town,
and
I
it's
never get
live.
tired of it. I absolutely love it. And also Bruce Springsteen's version of Merry Christmas Baby,
Mm,
I absolutely um love. I just think Bruce knows how to bring it when it comes
yeah.
to the holiday season. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani have a duet off of Gwen's, I believe, 2017 Christmas album called "You Make It Feel Like
Oh, yep.
Christmas."
I've heard
That
that.
I really enjoy. That's one of, I believe, 5 collaborations that Blake and Gwen have done now, and I believe they knocked it out of the park every time. I just
Yeah,
think their voices sound so great together, and I think that song uh,
I'd
proves
agree.
that. Yeah. John Legend has a Christmas song called "You Deserve It All" that came out, I think, a couple years ago. But last year he put out on his YouTube channel a solo piano performance of that song. I love that he did that because that's where I believe he is at his best.
That's how
Him
you
on
saw him at the concert, right?
Yeah, that is how I saw him. John Legend in the solo piano format. That's where I believe he's at his best. So I'm so glad he put out that song that way. And then he has this other Christmas song called "Bring Me Love," which I believe is off of his 2018 Christmas album that I really enjoy. And then last song I'll mention, Reba McEntire took Blake Shelton's seat on The Voice this season,
Oh, yeah.
and I've been looking at some of her songs recently. I swear she has like 4 to 5 Christmas albums. I did not
What albums?
realize, yeah,
What?
albums, full on albums. I did not
Wow.
realize the amount of Christmas music that she has put out in her career. But she has a Christmas song called I Needed Christmas," and I believe it's off of her most recent Christmas album that I've really been getting into recently. But when I looked through her catalog, I mean, the amount of Christmas material that she has put out, unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of Christmas albums. How many songs on each album, like relatively?
Oh, I'd say like 10 to 12, probably.
That's a lot of. You don't see that much. That's actually
No,
kind of shocking. Wow.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that kind of wraps up this episode of the Everything Podcast. I'm left stunned by that amount of Christmas albums. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to
crazy.
recommend all of our viewers to watch Arthur Christmas because I truly believe it's one of the best Christmas movies I've ever seen. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Everything Podcast. Really fun Christmas special. Um, and I actually have a New Year's episode planned that will probably be the most epic New Year's episode you'll ever see. We'll
Wow,
discuss it. We'll discuss it.
what a tease.
We'll discuss it in detail more after after this episode ends. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Everything Podcast. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. See ya.